in a lot of these best plays, whether he scores, he's going to be involved. You know, the first play is just going to ask Pentadze to finish, and he does it with some authority. And before that, when he had the poor foul, Shengelia just told him, no, we don't need that, I'm going to give you the ball, and he did it that time. And I just love the way that Pentadze, who we had big expectations of in game day one because he's a real quality player, just gave just an okay performance when his team needed him to step up. And he really has had a really excellent first quarter. He's all over these best plays. And again, he's involved with penetration. And the good thing about it for Georgia is that both bigs are very mobile, incredibly good at putting the ball on the floor, one or two bounces. So that this is more like the Georgia we expected to see, more like the top 20 team in the FIBA World Rankings. It's just, however poor the Philippines were, they've still got that 19-point margin. Didn't get open looks early on.
The second quarter best plays shows Mamukelashvili getting involved. It shows Shengelia, Thomason, Bitadze all playing roles. Georgia outscored the Philippines 27-25 in the end, but the Philippines came back, and we know Georgia need that 19-point margin to win this game. They've got to keep hustling, they've got to keep going. It's a really interesting battle that's going to play out in the second period.
And it's one of those, like, when they made the change because they couldn't cope playing man-to-man against that Georgian lineup because of the quickness. But if you do the math now, you know, if the Philippines get to 80 plus, then Georgia obviously have to get over 100. Now their offense says it'll be a lot easier to get the 19-point margin if they get stops. And they were getting stops early on. They've just been trading baskets. And I don't think that's going to give them a 19-point lead. So they've got to get back in that locker room and talk about how they contested, how they played off the ball defensively, and just be consistent with that. As Shengelia said, make sure we don't give any like weak stuff out there. We've got to be that team that does the right thing for the whole game.
Newsom's done super well in this game. Brownlee's had a really fantastic game for the Philippines as well. We expected it. 14 points, 5 from 7 from the field from him. And we've got a game on our hands, like we mentioned. The Philippines win and they're in. Georgia, they need to win by 19 or more, and they get in as well.
To a very low number. Yeah, even if they get 30, they've got to keep them down to like 11. And that's only going to happen if they pick that defense up again. They're still scored 74. It's not their issue. Their issue is they've allowed the game to become very Philippine-like in the tempo, and that's because they're just not playing defense. There's some great offensive action. Shengelia, for a period, just ran the game with a pass and the points. But the play that sums it up was the Ramos 3 with the Brownlee 2-on-2 game, because Mamukelashvili just didn't play defense and allowed him to catch it without any pressure. They cannot qualify unless they just dig and play some defense. Otherwise, this is done. They've got to get stops, and that should have been everything that should have been said. They cannot let the zone dictate the pace. They have to get stops and increase the tempo of the game. Otherwise, the Philippines are going to the semi-final. They may even go as group winners.
The fourth quarter best plays, well, it was Georgia in the end who outscored the Philippines 22-20. And it's a shame to see them knocked out of the tournament. I mean, a really good effort today. And, you know, Shengelia, if he played in the first game, it might have been a different story. You never know, but they should be really proud of what they've done to come here and play really hard and make their fans proud.
Well, it would have been a different story because they wouldn't have needed that 18, 19-point win. But everyone else has to then learn from it and say we can't be that affected in the way they were in that first game. So, but as I said previously, the Philippines have proved something to themselves, played with so much belief and a great level. They were a great level today. In some ways, a more impressive performance than they just played super against Latvia. They had to dig deep, and they had to get contributions off the bench. And Coach Cohen had to make changes and order the game, and every one of those gets a tick That's a great achievement by the Philippines, and they're not done yet.
Absolutely, it's going to be one of those where were you moments today. Were you in the stands? Were you watching from home? The Philippines in the semi-finals, their second Olympic qualifying tournament win in a row. They've beaten Latvia, the world number 6. They came up close against Georgia, the world ranked 23rd. And it was the likes of Perez who stepped up off the bench. We spoke about Brownlee, and we'll speak about him in tenfold, but there were so many contributors on the floor for them. Newsom got into double digits, Ramos as well. You can see here Brownlee knocking down the triple. He's been their difference maker so far in this tournament. They're calling him the Michael Jordan of the Philippines. I mean, let's go with it.